Tiara's breath. You haven't promised too much to Har. This place is incredible.
Just wait until you see it in action.
Just don't forget we're here for a purpose.
I won't. I'll go talk to Flynn now. We need to find a good place to set up camp. And, if you want to talk, about the past, then feel free to come by.
Understood. Yes.
Now look at that. The fabled Corporal. Good to finally meet you in person. I'm Flynn, second in command of the Wayfarers. I have to say, for someone who only led a puny Nortander division once, you're doing quite a good job leading an army so far. Not of them saying I couldn't do better, but still. Anyway, have you come to arm our men? I strongly suggest you do so.
But you're armed already, aren't you?
Well, yes, with rusty swords and dented armors. I mean with proper equipment. If you give me the coin, I'll send out orders to my contacts in Everlight. It'll improve our strike force significantly.
I want to buy some better equipment for the Wayfarers.
Music to my ears. What did you have in mind? Huh?
Can you tell me more about you? Rowan seems to think highly of you.
As he should. What do you want to know?
So what's your job in the Wayfarers?
Well, let's just say that I know a great deal of people. And I can also handle myself in a fight.
What did you do before the Wayfarers were formed?
Depends on how far before we're talking. I did some jobs here and there and then joined the military.
You were in the Royal Army?
Yes, I was even part of the Wolf Guard for a year or so.
Really? How come we never met?
Because that was way before your time. I know I don't look it, but I'm quite some years ahead of you, Tahar. I served under General Noria, under Sentenza, before that disaster at the Iskander Fortress.
How come you left?
Well, there were a couple of reasons. In a nutshell, I didn't agree with some of the things Sentenza made us do. So I deserted, just like you. Anyway, after I left, I went back into the mercenary business for a while. Then the Mage War broke out, things went to shit, and I went into hiding. Finally, a year ago, I met Rowan, and he told me about his idea. I immediately agreed. Doing good while not being bound to uniforms, orders, and morning drills was something I'd always wanted to do. I simply didn't expect anyone else to share that vision.
That's all for now. Keep your chin up, Flynn.
Will do, Tahar. And don't forget, fortune favors the man with the crossbow.
Now would you look at that? That's all for now. Keep your chin up, Flynn.
Will do, Tahar. And don't forget, an honorable man fights to the death. A wise man knows when to run.
Ah, Tahar.
Seems your men have made themselves comfortable.
Yeah, they have. There was a small disagreement between Flynn and the orcs, but we settled that, so it's all good now. But I'm guessing that's not what you came here for. You want to talk, right? About what I did 8 years ago?
Why did you do it? Why did you tell my father about my plan?
Well, what do you want me to say? I did it because back then I still believed in your father's vision. What you, Zane, and Helena were going to do, it just seemed, I don't know, wrong. But that doesn't mean it was an easy decision. Also, I didn't think he'd execute you. Probably naive, I know, but it's the truth. You see, I joined Asamo because there was truth in his words. The masks, the pikes, all that hatred against us defilers that the purity of light is spreading now. It was all already there. The people always feared us, simply because we were different. Because we are better than they. Your father, he knew something like that would happen eventually. So he stood up and tried to stop it before it was too late. At least that's what he said. And to be honest, I still don't know if he only lost that vision or had never had it to begin with.
I can't believe you're saying this. The reason people hate us mages now is because of what my father did. He confirmed their fears for them by starting this goddamn war.
Oh, really? And what about all that shit that happened beforehand? The witch burnings, mages driven out of the cities, gifted children abandoned by their mothers.
Did you just say because we are better?
Yes, better. How else should I say it? We cast fire from our hands, heal wounds with a mere thought, so how would you call it? I call it superior. And the ungifted know it as well as we do. But does that mean that we want to kill them? No. We're not animals, we're people, just like they are. Only that we are the lions and they are the cats. We didn't choose to be that way, but it's what nature chose for us.
I don't know. But to me, it sounds like you're still trying to justify what you did in that war.
That's where you're wrong. It's not all black and white, Tahar. And you of all people should know that. I know I made mistakes. And I've spent the past 7 years making amends. What else do you think the Wayfarers are for? Why else would I have left? And look, I do not expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I could do it if I were in your position.
I remember that back in the rebellion, ancient relics such as godstones were your specialty. Is there anything interesting you could tell me about them?
Interesting? That depends on what you mean by that. I mean, it goes without saying that what this rune allows us to do is beyond fascinating. Apart from that, I could only tell you the things you already know. How both the Hibernians and Shapers worshipped them and harnessed their magic. But that's about it.
So, regarding the Wayfarers, you said you founded them to make amends. Is that true? And if yes, how did you found them?
Yes, otherwise I wouldn't have said it. As to how I formed them, it's a long story. And maybe one we should save for later.
I want to talk about my father.
I figured you'd want to eventually. What is it you want to know?
Do you think it's true? That he was simply crazy?
Towards the end, yes. He had certainly lost his sanity. But before that, I still don't know. I've said it before, but there's one part of me that likes to think he was a madman to begin with. And then there's the other voice that tells me that he was merely a visionary who had lost his way. But if there's one thing I know, it's that he was a leader. Whenever he spoke to us, it was electric. To this day, I've never seen someone with his charisma.
You sound almost nostalgic.
Nostalgic? No. It's just... I've never met someone with that energy. You have some of it, Tahar. I only started to realize that here. But most of it is still asleep.
This might sound strange, but do you see any resemblance between him and me?
Interesting that you ask. Yes, there were moments where I could not help but notice that certain something that strongly reminds me of your father.
Could you be a bit more specific?
Well, I think that the best way to describe it is a sort of look in your eyes. It's somehow distant, but at the same time driven and intense. And it can be both intimidating and charismatic. I believe that it's this energy that helped your father rally the noble houses and all these mages behind him. And ironic as it may be, it might help you with our cause too.
My father never told me of how he grew up. Do you know anything about that?
About his childhood? I'm afraid not. He shared some fragments of his past with me, but probably no more than he shared with you.
Let's discuss something else. I'll be off.
Tahar, what is it?
I'll be off.
Tahar, what is it?
I'll be off. Understood.
Huh?
Can you tell me more about your craft? About demonology?
And why's that? Thinking about a career change?
I'm just curious.
Are you? I hope you do realize that demonology isn't a forbidden school for no reason. Most people who mess with it die. But sure, if you have questions, ask.
Let's start with the basics. What's the core principle of demonology?
It's simple. You study demons and their powers, and bind them to your will. And thus you gain access to their powers. Take a devourer. Once you've studied and subdued her to your will, you can access her strength. And I'm not talking about merely summoning her. You can channel her powers.
How is that supposed to work? Channeling their powers?
Hard to describe. Just imagine that the demon becomes a part of you. You connect it with your magic, so to speak. And when needed, you can call on it to help you. It's not just the power that comes with it. It's also the feeling. Channeling the essence of a Zarek Nar, a tribe eater. It's a feeling that compares to nothing else in this world. You can't understand it till you've done it.
So, in order to bind them, you need to beat them in battle, correct?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but yeah. In a nutshell, that's it.
And I'm guessing that's what makes it so dangerous?
Among other things, yes. What can also happen is that your body simply can't handle a demon's unleashed essence. It can cause a brain rupture similar to what these masks the Purity use. And, to be honest, that happens to 8 out of 10 students of demonology. They subdue a demon, get excited, and let all their energy rush in at once. As a result, their brains explode like a watermelon hit with a warhammer.
So, why exactly is demonology forbidden?
Because it's dangerous. And because demonologists can be extremely powerful. More than some members of the ruling caste would like to see.
Is there a limit to how many demons you can bind?
No. If there were, I wouldn't still be traveling after all this time.
Interesting. Thanks for the insight.
Sure. Huh?
Never mind. I'll be going.